Hello, everybody. Not gonna lie, I was bored, so let's do a Q&A. Oh man, there we go. I was out of focus there for a second. Haven't done a Q&A in a while. I've done obviously my live commentaries, even those kind of slack for a while. So I figured, why not? We'll just spend a little, maybe 45 minutes or so, just hanging out, chatting. What's going on? DC, Reggie, Berserk, David King, MDG. Been a sub since 1000. Well, thank you for hanging out this long. Um, Man, starting to flow in now. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good night. How happy were you when you got your money back? I mean, I was. It was pretty awesome. I mean, what was it? $28. I thought it was 18, but it was $28. It really doesn't make that big of a difference to me one way or the other as far as financial wise, but the principle of it was pretty fucking satisfying. I mean, the fact that I made this video and less than 24 hours later, and I'll get into detail with it, I guess, because I got the email saying that I was going to get my refund, and I was curious. I was like, I wonder if they saw my video, or I wonder if this was just somebody that took over the case and realized that this was screwed up. And then after that, I got my answer because when I sent back an email saying thank you, I appreciate it, they sent me an email back saying, so can you change the title of your video or take it down? So they did see the video, and that's what got me my refund. So within less than 24 hours, I got my money back. One of the representatives subscribed to my channel because they could see my community tab, and they followed me on Twitter. So, I mean, if that's not making them my bitch, I don't know what is. Oh, man. All right, so as always with these Q&As, especially doing it YouTube live with my phone, the chat goes very quickly, so I'm not going to get to every single question. I'll get to as many as I possibly can. If I skip your question, feel free to post them again. Please do not take offense if I miss it. I'm not ignoring it. It's just the name of the game. By the time I'm done answering one question, 17 more have popped up. So, going to start with Mr. Canova asks, have you watched Terrifier yet? I've watched Terrifier twice, actually. I watched it when it was kind of the big topic on in the horror community. What was that, 6 or 7 months ago? I enjoyed it. Had some issues with it a little bit, but I am going to do a review for it. I watched it a second time, enjoyed it a little bit more. It's still not a perfect movie. There's still definitely some low budget issues with it. It's not got a lot of story. There's even some issues I have with the way that Art the Clown is portrayed as a character. I think he's creepy, but at the same time, I think that there's some room for growth there. But it's gory as hell. It's a classic old school kind of slasher. I love the practical effects, so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I had issues with it. Draken Slayer, what do you think is the future of horror movies? I mean, history repeats itself with any genre, so I think horror. We're starting to get to where horror is now actually kind of becoming a respectable genre. When you got movies last year like Get Out that even made it, got to the Oscars. Shape of Water, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but it's still technically in the horror realm. That won Best Picture. You got movies this year like A Quiet Place, like Hereditary. Even Halloween 2018 with the success that had, and the success that had last year. Like horror is starting to kind of get up there. It's not the little redheaded stepchild of the movie world anymore. So I think that they're going to keep going in that direction. But I think that because horror is getting momentum now and horror is getting respect now, you're going to start to see franchises like Halloween and Child's Play and Nightmare on Elm Street. Hopefully, all these old forgotten franchises, and hopefully some that aren't as popular as those, getting another chance to come back and be even better than they ever were. Hopefully. You guys know my thoughts on Halloween 2018. Didn't quite get there, but first one out of the gate, not bad. Okay, this is a good question. Dank Bloop, is Off the Shelves going to come back? I'm debating on it because, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I never really enjoyed doing those videos because I always had to stack all the Blu-rays that I bought for a month off in the corner of the room, which drives Holly absolutely insane, which in turn drives me insane because then she's on my ass about it. Hold that thought. Charles Thompson, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Who do you think dies in the Avengers Endgame? I think that everybody that died in Infinity War is going to be brought back, and everybody that survived in Infinity War is going to have to be sacrificed. So I think it's going to flip-flop. At least some of them, like Captain America, Iron Man. Anyway, back to good question. Thank you for the super chat. Back to the off the shelves. I never really enjoyed doing it for that reason, and it also it became a video that I always felt like, even though I tried to do new things with it, tried to do the pick of the month and everything to make it a little bit more streamlined, and it never really took off as far as views. It would always kind of top out, and oh, Holly asked a question. It always topped out around 1,000 views. So I stopped doing it, but I've had enough people ask me that I might do a little trial video in like maybe January with all the stuff I get for Christmas and everything like that to see if it gets some good views, and maybe I'll bring it back. So let me find Holly's question before I get in trouble. Damn, woman, where the hell's your question at? Oh, Holly, there it is. When are you going to propose to me? In 2019. Love you. Yo, Aunt Carsey, you can watch one for the rest of your life. Halloween 2 Rob Zombie or the Friday the 13th reboot. The Friday the 13th reboot. I really, really like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I defend it at no end. I think that it's hated too much. I think that a lot of people don't understand it. Some people legitimately just have too many issues with it and they don't like it, which is fair. But I think that a lot of the criticisms I see hailed at it is just kind of because it's a non-conventional movie. But nonetheless, I think Friday the 13th, the reboot, is a better movie overall. It's a better Friday the 13th movie than Halloween 2 is a Halloween movie. And it's got more entertainment value in it, just bare level entertainment with, you know, the slasher tropes and everything like that, the badass Jason. So I would rather watch Friday the 13th for the rest of my life than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Good question. Gary Rangel, will you buy the Halloween 2018 to see the deleted scenes and special features? I will buy it because I do like the movie despite all my issues with it, but probably not to watch deleted scenes. Believe it or not, I'm not really big on deleted scenes. It actually irritates me because when you get a really great deleted scene, all it does is annoy me that it didn't make it into the movie. Especially a movie like Halloween 2018 that I have all these issues with. If there's deleted scenes that are great, I'm going to be irritated as fuck watching them because I'm going to be like, why was this cut? Why didn't they use this instead of this bullshit scene? So I don't tend to watch deleted scenes too much or, you know, alternate endings, stuff like that. I used to when I was a kid, but as an adult, I don't get into them too much anymore. Special features like documentaries or like the making of and everything, that's more likely something that I would watch, but still not very high on the probability list just because having 3 kids and one of them being a 2-year-old, I barely get to watch movies as it is anymore. I have to choose my time very carefully. So using that time, especially when I have a lot of movies Patreon-wise right now to Mother Mayhem, shut the hell up, as a patron request and stuff like that, I have things that I have to do like work-wise with the time that I have. So watching documentaries and stuff, it's kind of, that's been pushed off to the side. So I will buy it, but not for those reasons. So yes, Mother Mayhem wants everybody to know that I'm not technically an adult because she thinks that I was a teenager 2 years ago. 20 System Nation. Do you ever... Oh, shit. On a scale from 1 to 10, where do you put Leprechaun Returns at? What did I give it? A 2.5? So about a 5. You know, it's... None of the Leprechaun movies are good. I have guilty pleasure for the first one. I always liked the first one growing up, and if I never watched it before, I could probably watch the first Leprechaun now and not like it at all. But it's one of those movies that, you know, I grew up with. I grew up watching the Leprechaun movies and renting the VHS tapes, so I have fond memories of watching them. I have not revisited any of them except for the first one since I was a kid, so I don't know how much I still like those. But Leprechaun Returns, it's an entertaining guilty pleasure type movie if you like the Leprechaun movies. If you don't, then you're gonna fucking hate it. You know, it's a cheap slasher movie with good practical effects and good kills and a somewhat entertaining killer with absolutely atrocious actors and a bullshit story. So I gave it a 2.3 or something like that, so close enough to a 5. So from 1 to 10, I'll give it a 5. I had a couple super chats. Let me see. Sergio, thoughts on Christian Bale and his best roles? Christian Bale's great. he's not somebody that I watch every single movie that he's in, but there's a reason why the dude has been nominated for quite a few Oscars and won one, and especially the amount of shit that he's willing to do to his body to make it for a role, like what he did with the Machinist, getting down to like 80 pounds or some shit, and then immediately after that having to bulk up and add like 100 pounds of muscle for fucking Batman. The dude's awesome. I don't love every movie that he's in, but he's always great in them. Jason JV, $5. Thank you so much, man. Hey, Cody, love your channel. Curious about excitement level for It Chapter 2. Very excited and extremely nervous because Chapter 2 of the 1990 movie is god awful. That's what, when everybody says it's a shitty movie, they always are talking about Part 2. Part 2 tends to overshadow how good Part 1 is for a lot of people. And for good reason. It's not good. I still watch it almost every single year for nostalgia reasons and because one is great, but I have to finish the story. But even people who love the book say that the second half of the book isn't anywhere near as good. So I'm worried about how they're going to counteract that because it seems like the foundation for the story for it, the chapter 2 of it is just not all that great. So they're going to have to change it up a lot. And not having those kids back, I'm curious how much that's going to sting. As great as the cast it seems like they've had for these adults, you know, is it going to... Typically with a sequel, you want to go back to those characters and revisit those characters. So is it going to be a bad transition going from the kids to the adults? I don't know. But I'm very excited. Just very nervous. Alex Fortnite, what movie is Garbage Day from? Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2. Never seen it, but talk with Drum Dums about that one. He tends to like it. Holly Jones, what song do you listen to most in the car? Recently, it's Radio Gaga by Queen, because ever since me and Holly saw Bohemian Rhapsody, she's been a Queen fanatic. I've started to kind of listen to a lot more Queen than I ever have, because it's never really been a band I've actually kind of explored. So I've been listening to a little bit of Queen since then, and our daughter Riley has become infatuated with the song Radio Gaga. She calls it the Goo Goo Gaga song. So as soon as you hear the beginning of it, you look in the back seat in her car seat and she's going. So anytime I'm in the car now, she goes, Goo Goo Gaga song? Breaking Matt, do you prefer Breaking Bad or Die Hard? Oh my God. That's like making me pick one of my kids, man. Oh, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. Only because it's kind of an unfair comparison because Die Hard, as phenomenal as that movie is, and as much as it's near and dear to my heart, it's 2 hours. When you get Breaking Bad and you get so many episodes and so much story and so many characters, it just fleshes it out that Breaking Bad is like an obsession of mine. And I can't wait to get to where I actually start reviewing the seasons. That's something I will be doing in 2019, mark my words. I don't know when, but yeah, I've watched Breaking Bad start to finish like 5 times. I would get a Breaking Bad tattoo if I could find one that I actually liked a lot. I'm fucking obsessed with it, so that's a painful choice, but yeah, Breaking Bad. Vinny Montaigne, Gotham or Arrow, better TV show? I've never seen Gotham, and I lost interest in Arrow at the beginning of season 4, so I'm not really fond of either one of them. Everything that the dude from Shameless, Cameron Monaghan, is doing with the Joker character looks fascinating, but I've never really heard anybody praise the show all that much, so I don't really want to have to watch a halfway decent or passable show just to get to that cool Joker shit. So as much as I would love to see what he's doing with that character and kind of go along that ride, the show just doesn't interest me all that much. A Batman show before Batman with all these villains, you know, coming into their own before Batman's a thing just doesn't really appeal to me that much. But Arrow was phenomenal for 2 seasons. Season 3, I'd say the first half of season 3 was still really good, but after that second half, whenever he supposedly died and Ra's al Ghul was kind of taken over, ever since then, the show has never recovered for me. So I got dragged through the rest of season 3 and was not enjoying it at all. Watched the first maybe third of season 4 and it was just atrocious, and I gave up on the show. And I watched the season finale of season 4 after I bought it on Blu-ray because I was planning on picking back up on season 5, and I watched the first 2-3 episodes of season 5, and I didn't even get into that much. So I just gave up on it. So some people have said there's been some pretty good stuff since then. Nowhere near as good as the first 2 seasons, but I just lost interest in it. Let me see. Kelcan0706, what's your favorite movie of 2018? Well, I will be having my list coming out soon, but I will say this. It's either Summer of 84 or Upgrade. It's one of those two, and I haven't decided yet. How old were you when you saw your first horror movie? What was it? By Tolan04. It was Child's Play 3, and I was either 3 or 4 years old. But yeah, I remember walking into our apartment at the time. My dad was watching the VHS tape, and I remember the image of walking in and seeing on the TV with the VHS tape going, like the blood swirling into that little funnel at the beginning, and it says Child's Play 3. I still remember that. So the rest is history from there. Joker. Crap. Joker, what is your most anticipated movie of 2019? There's a lot of them. I mean, Avengers is going to be great, hopefully. Child's Play, I can't wait for, because I hope it's a fucking phenomenal movie and blows everybody away and shuts everybody up. Obviously, It Chapter 2 is high up there. I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm missing one. I feel like there's an obvious one. Glass. Glass looks like it's going to be kick-ass. Pet Sematary is up there. I know I'm missing one. There's like an obvious one. It's like, oh my god, that one. I can't think of it right now. Out of those, though, I'll say the Child's Play remake is probably my most anticipated, just because it has the most potential to go one way or the other. It can either be like this awesome remake, or it can just totally make me eat my fucking words. So I'm most curious to see how that comes out. Thank you, Manny, for the super chat. Mr. Jordan 19. Hey Cody, have you heard about Ghostface returning for Scream Season 3? Roger I. Jackson is even returning to voice him. What are your thoughts on that? It makes me want to check Season 3 out, because I've heard that it's not continuing the story from the first 2 seasons, and I haven't watched the first 2 seasons. So I could pick up on Season 3 and not feel like I am lost. So if that's true, that kind of piques my interest a little bit. But I'm not really... Horror TV shows based off of movies just don't tend to really appeal to me much, because none of them are really all that good. The only ones that have been great have been Bates Motel and Hannibal that I can remember. Everything else that I've seen or that I've heard of is just not really, doesn't really work for me. So haven't really heard anything overwhelmingly great about Scream, and I've heard more than a few people say it's not that good. So hopefully Season 3 changes that. Mother Mayhem, Upgrade was much better than the Summer of 84. Smarten up, Leach. Silence, woman. Upgrade was phenomenal. Like, Upgrade was the biggest surprise of 2018 for sure. Like, if I did a most surprising movies, which I'm not, but if I did one, that would be number one. Summer of 84, I will admit fully, the third act is what holds a lot of the weight with how much I love that movie, because before that, it's still very good, but before that, it's a movie that we feel like we've seen before in a lot of aspects. Even though I still love the characters, I still love a lot of the things they set up, but it's the third act and where things go and the balls the movie has to do the things that it does that surprised me and made me love it so much. So they're very close for me personally, because Upgrade was a huge surprise, but it also takes a lot of elements from a lot of movies that we've seen before. Same that Summer of 84 does, but Summer of 84 goes places that a lot of movies don't have the balls to go. So it's kind of, you know. Your thoughts on the Final Destination franchise by Jamie Palmer. I love the first 2. I like the third one. I have never rewatched it, but I remember liking most of the 5th one, and I fucking hate the 4th one. So overall, pretty good franchise, but the first 2 are awesome. Eventually we'll probably review those. But the first one's great. The second one's my favorite. Third one was still pretty good, but you could tell that it started to get a little bit cheap with some of the gore. The Final Destination, I saw that in theaters. That was a fucking train wreck with being 3D and everything. Garbage movie. But 5 was cool, mostly because of what they pulled off in the end. Other than that, it kind of has the same problems that 3 has. Dominican Scott, do you play video games? Absolutely. I got video game reviews once in a great while. Yeah, I have an Xbox One that I never use except for a Blu-ray player, and I have a PS4 that I constantly play video games on as far as new releases go. I don't constantly play though, because of the same reasons I gave earlier for why I don't get to watch too many movies, because I have kids running around, and it's even harder to keep track of them when you're playing a video game than it is watching a movie. So yeah, big major releases like Red Dead Redemption or Hitman 2, I always pick those up and check those out. Um, but yeah, I do play video games. Aaron Baldonado, are you going to review Wrong Turn eventually? Pretty much all these franchises I'm going to try to get to eventually. I've got the main ones out of the way now, so now it's kind of, I kind of cut my own path about which ones I want to do. Everybody wants me to do Hellraiser. I don't know if I have the strength for that yet. But Wrong Turn, Final Destination, um, the couple more Candyman movies if I decide to do those, the Leprechaun movies, and everybody wants me to do those. So it's there's a lot of these kind of secondary franchises that I'd like to get into eventually. All right, let me see. I'm going to go back down towards the bottom, so I apologize if I skip your question. Let me see. Slim MCL, what made you decide to become a YouTuber? Boredom, honestly. I listened to a lot of podcasts on my previous job because there was a lot of driving involved in that job. I would have to drive anywhere from an hour to 3 hours to and from job sites every single day. So I'm talking about spending anywhere from 2 to 6 hours a day in a truck. And I got tired of the music I was listening to very quickly, because even if you have your own playlist and shit, you start hearing the same songs over and over, you just get bored with it. So I started listening to podcasts, and at one time was AMC Movie Talk, became Collider Movie Talk, some other stuff like that. And as I was listening to it, I found myself talking to the radio, like when they say something I didn't agree with, or if there was a topic I really wanted to discuss, I'm like, oh! And I was like, you know what? I could do that. So I bought a little microphone. I got a SoundCloud account, and I made a podcast that I did for about 2.5 months. I think I started it sometime mid-June, and I carried it all the way through to the end of August. And what I found out quickly was that nobody listens to podcasts from people they don't know. So it was like treading water trying to have a podcast that anybody except for my friends or family would listen to. So I didn't want to do YouTube at first. Obviously, when I was thinking about doing podcasts, and I was like, what if I just do a YouTube channel? But I was intimidating with the video editing and how much time it would take and everything. So when it's easy to do a podcast, you sit in the living room, or I used to go in my closet and record some of those, and you just chop out some of the sections where you forget what to say and then throw it up. You don't have to fucking make sure you don't look like a piece of shit in front of camera. You don't have to set anything up. There's no green screens or anything. But anyway, I got bored with my progress in podcasting, and so I bought a camera, the same video camera I use now. I bought Adobe Premiere and Adobe Photoshop, and I pretty much, and Holly can attest to this if she's still watching, I pretty much locked myself in my bedroom for an entire weekend trying to figure out how to edit my first video, which was my sausage party review. So I filmed it in my living room, kind of did it with the basic style. I tried to kind of go for kind of a mix between what Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johns did. I didn't want all the freaky, on speed cuts that Jeremy Johns did. But I didn't want to sit there and just have a free-flowing video like this where I just talk freely for 30 minutes and it's just thoughts vomited out. I wanted to have some tight editing to it. So I kind of found a happy medium with that. I wanted to put some graphics on there, so I found little pictures. But I had to go and spend hours trying to figure out how to edit all this and get it how I wanted it. I had to render the video like 4 or 5 times trying to figure out the settings that I had to do to make, the aspect ratio correct for YouTube and everything. So after locking myself in a bedroom and getting scolded by Holly the entire weekend, I got my sausage party review out, and kind of the rest is history from there. Immediately after that, you'll see my, I believe my second review was my, the Mechanic Resurrection, and that's when I brought in the green screen. I bought the green screen because I was like, I would rather, again, kind of taking inspiration from Jeremy Johns, I'd rather be able to put my own backgrounds in and not always have to film and have the movie cases behind me and shit. So I just wanted to experiment with it. Didn't know anything about green screens. Never did it before. So Sausage Party Review is the first thing I ever edited video-wise. And then immediately after that, which was the following weekend, Mechanic Resurrection was the first video I ever edited before with a green screen. Which again took me just about all night to figure out how to do what I wanted. And then I just started, kind of the rest is history from there. A lot of slow growth at first, like any YouTube channel, had to learn a lot of mistakes the hard way, putting 8, 9 hours into a video that gets 23 views and shit like that. But obviously, I found my stride somewhere along the way. But good question. That would be a good like whole topic for an entire video at some point. Hey, Drum Dums and Cody Leach, how would you rank Leatherface chainsaws? Is Lee here? Did somebody say Drum Dums because that motherfucker's here? There he is. Drum Dums is here watching. How would you rank Leatherface's chainsaws? I don't know. I guess the number one would be the one from Leatherface, the third one, the Sawless family or whatever, because that's the only one that really has any kind of style to it. The rest of them are all fucking just chainsaws. Dank Blute, do you want Dexter to come back? That's a tough question. I think that they have opportunity to come back for one more season and dig themselves out of that shitty ass hole they put themselves in that final season. That final season of Dexter is horrendous. Absolute garbage from top to bottom. Nothing redeeming about it whatsoever. So ending such a phenomenal show with a season like that is unforgivable. So if they were able to find a way to come back for one more season, even a 10 episode season, and redeem themselves for that final season and give us a better ending, I would totally welcome that. But only if they have all their cards in place, because I don't want to see more Dexter because, hey, it's been a while. You guys want some more Dexter? Because if it's the same showrunners that gave us the past last couple of seasons, especially the final season though, fuck that. Just let it die. I'll take my first 4 seasons and I'll pretend that's the show. Eastwood, Cody, do you listen to the band Disturbed? Not as much as I used to. I used to love Disturbed. I still consider myself a Disturbed fan. I saw them live, I think 2, 3 years ago. Well, definitely it was 3 years ago. And they're good live too, but they haven't had a great album, in my opinion, since Indestructible. Asylum, I didn't think was very good at all. Then they came out with what the fuck was it called? The negative one or whatever. That's not even right. But the previous album where they kind of recorded it in secret. Pretty good album. Definitely more of a return to form. The one that has Sound of Silence on it, which is the most fucking overplayed song ever. And then you have this most recent album, which I can only listen to once. I think it's their worst album. Evolution or whatever, where it's like it's half the same old shit, which goes against the entire title of Evolution, and it's like watered down Disturbed. It's not like Disturbed on their A game, and then a lot of kind of slower, more mainstream songs, probably because of their success from Sound of Silence. But I only gave it one listen, and I didn't care for hardly any of it. So, yeah, they're on the little bit of a downslope with me. AJ Broccolo, when are you dropping the original Black Christmas review? Hopefully this weekend. It just depends. But I'll have both of them out before Christmas. That and the Silent Night, Deadly Night. Something Wild, favorite Tremonti album? Fantastic question. I don't think he's put out a bad album yet, and I can't wait to see him live at Rockville. Lee, if you're still watching, you're about to get your face melted. But I'll say his best album is his first album because it's the most well-rounded. You know, it's got everything. It's got heavy songs. It's got a little bit more mainstream songs. It's got things that sound like kind of Alter Bridge style, some things that sound very progressive rock. Whereas after that, you got Dust and fuck, what the hell was the name of the second album? There was a double album. Dust was one of them. The first one, I can't remember the name for the life of me. But that little double album there is mostly heavier stuff and more progressive stuff. And then you get into this album that he just released, and A Dying Machine, and it's kind of halfway between the double album and his first album, where it's a little bit more experimental, but it's got some mainstream stuff in there. But I think the first album is the most well-rounded. But all of his albums have been great so far. All right, Daniel, have you seen Reanimator? Did you like it? I bought it and I've yet to rewatch. I've yet to watch it. I've never seen it before. There's a lot of these classic movies that I bought with the intention of watching eventually, and they get lost in the shuffle. Let me see. I see Lee in here, but it looks like he's just answering his own questions. Oh shit! Drum Dums drops $10. Thoughts on nudity and horror. Does it affect your enjoyment of the movie? Hashtag jean shorts. Little CP joke in there. Okay. Thank you for your super chat there, Lisa's. Thoughts on nudity and horror. When it's necessary, it actually fits. Like, it's weird seeing a Friday the 13th movie with no nudity. Like, Jason Lives has no nudity, and it's very odd. It seems like a thing that you shouldn't really be bothered by, but when it's kind of part of the formula, it definitely stands out. There's movies that have nudity that don't need any nudity. Does it add anything to the movie? Does it add anything to the scene? Sometimes. Sometimes not. Sometimes you throw it in there just because you know that's what people want to see. What I can't stand, though, in any movie, but especially in horror, is when it's a movie that should have nudity, but they kind of shy away from it, or they kind of film it in a way where they cut away. Like I made a big deal out of Halloween 4, when they have this long, drawn-out lead-up to What's-Her-Tits pulling her shirt off and being on top of Brady and then slowly unbuckling the bra, and she's pulling it down. As soon as it gets to right here, it cuts to her back. And you're like, what the fuck? Stuff like that's annoying. If you're going to go there, go there. Otherwise, don't even hint at it because, you know, as a male, it's irritating. But for just the scene itself, it's like, what is the purpose of this? What's the purpose of the teasing going on here? So, interesting question. I'm trying to think of an example of something else, but those are pretty recent that I've talked about, so that fits there. Thank you, Lee. Love you as always. Mother Mayhem, get the fuck out in your big bucks. If you donate $11, I'll answer a question from you. New Halloween by a mile. Somebody must be asking what the best movie of the year is. What's the most perfect movie ever made? New Halloween by a mile. Jennifer Kinslow drops $5. Thank you. Did you like The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix? If so, do you have a favorite episode? I actually never finished it. I started watching it with Holly, and I think I made it through episode 2, and then I started falling asleep because I have to work very early in the morning, so it's extremely rare that I can make it through a movie or a TV show when Holly is home. And so we watched it. I got through the first episode, thought it was great. Got through the second episode, thought it was great. Fell asleep somewhere in the midst of episode 3. And whenever I finally came back to Netflix to suggest that we catch up with it, I went to go click on it, and it says resume episode 6. So Holly carried on without me. And she's like, you just catch up on your nights off or whatever. And I kind of didn't watch it on principle because she just kept watching it without me. So she finished it. Apparently she loved it, but I have yet to go back and finish it. So I'm one of the people out of the loop on how amazing the show is. Let me see. Trying to find some questions here. I answered your question, Lee. I'm sorry. All right, let me go back to down to the bottom. That's your fault. You snooze, you lose. Holly always chimes in when I'm talking about her. I don't know if she watches the whole video or if she just has like antennas somewhere or fucking, her ears start burning whenever I'm talking about her, and she's like, just starts watching the fucking video. Hopefully Lee didn't leave before I answered his question. I'm telling you guys, these fucking YouTube live things, it's crazy how fast things move. Once you start talking, 18 more questions pop up, and everybody's like, what about me? Jason JV drops $5. Thank you so much. Holly Jones, I'm at work counting stock. I'm listening. You never listen. Don't lie to me. Dank Bloop, what's your worst Netflix original movie? Any of the ones that Adam Sandler's done. Josh Graham, do you listen to Breaking Benjamin? No, I do not. I've heard a few songs on the radio. Obviously, they're like the radio rock band, which is part of the reason why I don't listen to them. But they're decent. It's not really my style. They're very commercial rock, in my opinion. And that might be an ignorant statement because I don't listen to full albums. Maybe that's just the singles that I'm judging them off of, which is totally fair. But let me see. All right, I'm kind of scrolling through. Good looking honky. Cody, do you believe we will see a gay Superman soon? I will answer your question with a question. What is the purpose of a gay Superman? What is there to gain by changing the sexual orientation of the most popular superhero on Earth? I don't. Obviously, I'm straight, so I don't see the. I don't have the. I gotta choose my words carefully. It's not going to make any difference positively for me if he does turn out to be gay at some point. Like, I'm not going to get excited over it. I'm not going to get upset, but I'm not going to, like, there's nothing for me to get excited about. So I guess I don't have that perspective, but I just don't, I've never understood, and this goes with sexual orientation, this goes with race, this goes with other things, gender. Why change it for the sake of changing it? I've never really got that. And if Superman has been straight since the time he was created, I don't see what's to gain by changing that. The same way I don't see what's to gain by making James Bond a girl. They were talking about that for a while there. You can have a black James Bond. I think Idris Elba would be a phenomenal James Bond because the race thing does not change at all who the character is as a core. Changing him to a female would change it drastically. And not necessarily that making Superman gay would change him drastically. I don't know what the, aside from just being able to say, hey, we made Superman gay, yay us. I don't know what the purpose or what the gain would be there. I hope that's not offensive. I tried to make it as respectable as I could, but I don't see the point of that. I think you're much better off making a character. You can. It's hard to make new characters that's going to be as iconic as Superman. I understand that, but I feel like if you're going to try to make representation happen, I feel like you have to start with some new characters. I don't think you're going to get, I don't think anyone's going to get the results that they want by changing beloved characters to fit an agenda like that. We need more representation, so let's start changing shit. Then you're going to make everybody upset. It's used to that character and who that character is. I mean, you see people on comic book movies now, if they change the shade of red on his fucking cape, they lose their shit. So, I mean, you change something as drastic as a sexual orientation, people are going to fucking lose their minds. I don't know. That's my take. La, 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 la. We'll do about another 15 minutes of these guys, and then I got to lay down. Here's a good one. Jesus, thoughts on the Breaking Bad movie? I actually thought it was a joke for a while there. I thought that it was not going to be real. It was going to be some kind of rumor. But since they have pretty much said that it's going to follow Jesse after the events of the finale and show what happened to him, I am 100,000% for it because Vince Gilligan is involved with it. I don't know if he's directing it. I don't know if he's writing it. I don't know if he's just maybe producing it. I'm not sure. Maybe they've already said. But as long as Vince Gilligan is in charge of this, I have 100% faith in it because I have no reason not to. Because on paper, there's no reason why Better Call Saul should be as good as it fucking is. But it's awesome. It's totally different than Breaking Bad, but it is great. So I have no reason to doubt the man. And that story, as much as I love the ending of Breaking Bad, and I feel like you could leave it there and it's still perfection, I'm not sitting up at night wondering what Jesse Pinkman did after he drove out of that compound. I think they left it ambiguous enough where you can come up with your own, story solutions and you'll be just fine. But the fact that they're going to tell us in a movie, I feel like there is huge potential there. Obviously, that hopefully they don't fuck it up. But like I said, Vince Gilligan's in charge of it, so I have faith. Let me see. Conrad Drover, hey, did Adam ever continue the convo with you? I kind of opened up this video talking about it, but yeah, basically what happened was about 1 p.m. this afternoon, they emailed me. It was a different person I've never talked to before, so this is a third representative. Contacted me and said, apologized, said that the theater dropped the ball and they did too with their customer service and offered me my refund and went ahead and just gave me my money back. So I emailed back, thank you, I appreciate it. At about 6 p.m., they sent me an email, the same person, saying, you're welcome. Can you please take down the video or at least change the title? because I posted the emails with them giving my refund back on my community tab. I posted it on Facebook. I posted it on Twitter. Saying victory. I did the video and I got what was owed to me. Um, so he said, you put the thing on the community tab, but nobody that just watches the video sees the end result. And then he also said, like, thank you for the Twitter update as well. So it kind of felt a little passive aggressive. Like, thanks for, putting us on blast on Twitter and everything like that. But what's funny to me was that I don't believe you can see my community posts unless you're a subscriber. So that means Adam Tickets has had somebody subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter to be able to see what else I say. But they gave me my money back, every dime of it. I'm not taking the video down. I changed the title. It's no longer fuck Adam Tickets. It's just Adam Tickets Experience. And then I put in parentheses, in less than 24 hours, this video got me my money back. I posted in the video description and as a pinned comment a full description of what happened this afternoon with them giving me my money back, and said that it's a shame that I had to publicly display this ridiculous situation in order for them to think it was worth resolving, and hopefully they take a very hard look at their customer service and the way they treat their customers from here on out. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for them that because I warned them with my last email exactly what was going to happen if they fucked me over. I said I'm going to tell everybody I know not to use your service, but unfortunately for them, everybody I know is tens of thousands of people. They just didn't know that. So I'm a man of my word. Nick, the music nerd. Hey man, just wanted to say that your MCU villains ranking made me reconsider hating Zemo. Before I had him at the bottom. Now I really like him. Awesome. I think he's a really misunderstood villain. You could take him out of the movie, and the movie is just fine without him. But I like how non-conventional he is, and I like how he kind of manipulates things behind the scene. He's not your typical mustache twirling, I want to blow things up and make a giant cloud of debris in the sky type villain. So I really like Zemo. I think it takes it a step too far that he knew that Iron Man and Cap were going to end up in that one little compound and they're going to be able to play the tape. A little too convenient there at the end, but overall, I like Zemo. So I'm glad you kind of checked him out again and kind of saw him through a new perspective. 5 favorite horror movies of all time, no specific order, from Phoenix Demon. John Carpenter's The Thing, The Lost Boys, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and probably the first Halloween. I don't know if I'm missing one or not. Those are pretty high up there for me. So that's probably pretty accurate. Definitely the first 2 that I named are absolutely my top 2. Let me see. Brett Sheffield. Hey, Cody, did you listen to the new Alice in Chains albums, such as Black Gives Way to Blue, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, and Rainier Fog? Black Gives Way to Blue is a very good album. The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, I only listened to it once, but it didn't really grab me. Nothing about it really stood out to me. Maybe I need to re-listen to it. Rainier Fog, I bought it, and thank you for reminding me. I actually need to put it in my truck, because what happened was I bought it, and then less than, it might have been the very next day, my brakes went out on my fucking truck, so I had to go get it towed to a dealership and get it worked on, and it was gone for like 2 weeks. So there was 2 weeks that I wasn't able to listen to this new album, and I have yet to go back and actually finish it. I thought that the first couple of songs were pretty damn good on it, so I have no opinion on Rainier Fog aside from I need to fucking listen to it. But yeah, the new Alice in Chains is pretty good. See, about 5 more minutes, so I'm gonna try to. Let me see. All right, I see a couple questions here. Hey Cody, are you buddy with 3C Films? And then 3C Films chimes in, yeah, Cody, are you? 3C Films was a channel that I noticed whenever I was first kind of coming up. I think he was at least 2 or 3,000 subs ahead of me and Sean Chandler and Tyler Tompkins, and Durbania. We all kind of came up together. And then at some point we kind of passed 3C Films, and 3C Films kind of seemed to disappear for a while. Now he's kind of making a resurgence again especially with this Chucky stuff, which I've watched a few videos on. Friends, I've never really talked to the guy too much. If he's still here, I haven't talked to you too much, but I've liked some of the things that you've done. I have watched your videos. Obviously, I'm a Chucky fanatic, so a couple of your updates I've watched. I'm glad that you're a fan of my channel. I see that here. I do notice you, but yeah, it depends on your definition of friends. Like friends to me is like drum dum, somebody I talk to every single day and stuff like that. I'm not saying that I'm not friendly towards 3C, but I honestly I've never talked to the guy. So good luck with your channel, and if you're still here, thank you for the support. Like I don't. Did you like Venom? Should I get it on Blu-ray? Yes, I liked Venom. I didn't do a review on it because October was very busy for me, but I really enjoyed the movie. It has problems. It definitely feels like it's about 10 years too late in some aspects, but I love Tom Hardy. I enjoyed the movie overall. It's not on par with something like, Captain America Winter Soldier or anything like that, but it was definitely an enjoyable movie. So I will be buying it on 4K, and if you're curious on it, I say you should too. All right, guys, we'll do 5 more questions. I know you don't watch The Walking Dead, but will you watch the Walking Dead Rick Grimes movie that AMC is making? Thoughts? No and no. The Walking Dead is a show that I was obsessed with when it first came out, like most of us were, but I actually knew about it before a lot of people. So I was really like a huge champion of that show. The first season I thought was phenomenal. The second season, even though it was a little slower and certainly should have been tightened up a bit, I still loved the second season. Second season is probably my favorite overall, just because I love the character of Shane. Season 3 was great until it was drawn out for one, but until you got to that ending, and it was just a gigantic dick tease. Like the whole season leading up to this confrontation with the governor, and then you don't even really get it. And that is the beginning of the downfall of the AMC's The Walking Dead with me, because it became a show that was an old Southern grandma phrase here, too big for its britches. It's a show that never quite knew what to do with its success and never quite knew how to fill out its padded ass episode length, or season length, I should say. Because immediately after season 2, they got 16 episode seasons. And I believe they've had that since then, if not maybe a few more episodes. But this show has never been able to sustain a 16 episode season. It was barely able to sustain a 12 episode season in season 2. So you have that. You have a lot of filler every single season. At least it got to the point where it was like 2/3 filler. Episodes that are inconsequential. People say character development, you go off and, whatever. If it's not entertaining, if it's not good, if it's not relevant to me, it's not just character development, it's filler. There's a phrase in the TV world, filler episode, for a reason. So that's another problem. Then you got to the point where it just feel like the show is kind of going the same motions over and over and over again. Same shit over and over. Then you finally get to the reveal of Negan, which is something that I was waiting for a very long time. Then you add in the casting of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, which was awesome to me because nobody knew who that fucking guy was before he played Negan. I have always loved Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I loved him on Supernatural. I loved him in The Losers. I loved him in The Resident, which is a movie that nobody fucking watched. I thought Jeffrey Dean Morgan was a bad motherfucker. And then the guy gets cast as Negan. I'm like, this is perfect. And then you get the reveal of Negan, and the dude fucking kills it. He has that whole long speech where he's creepy, he's intimidating, he is making you nervous, he's making your fucking heart pump watching it. And then they do that bullshit bait and switch fucking Walking Dead classic move where they don't show you who's killed, so you're blackmailed to come back in a few months and watch again to find out. And that was kind of the last straw with me for The Walking Dead. I have never been more angry at a TV show or a TV show episode in my life than I was watching that season 7, I believe, finale where they didn't show who Negan killed. I was fucking furious. And if I had a YouTube channel back then, I really wish I would have, because it would have been a lovely video. But I still gave the show one more season, though, because I was a whore. I was like, I've been in with it this long. You know what I mean? It's like having a girlfriend that sucks, but she's a terrible person and she's a drug addict or whatever else, but you've been with her so long, you're like, I don't know what else to do. I've never been in that situation. But I've been with it so long, I didn't know how not to be a Walking Dead viewer. So I gave it one more season, and it was the worst season of Walking Dead that I've ever seen. The season following Negan killing Abraham and killing Glenn, where you have basically Negan and his compound in a couple episodes, and then you have Daryl being taken a prisoner and all the things going on in Alexandria. Like, it was the most long, drawn out, boring, padded, filler ass season of the show to date. And after the end of that season, I was like, I'm done. I'm not watching this show anymore. Unless everybody in unison comes out and says, The Walking Dead is back. This was a phenomenal season, this and that. I'm not returning to this show. And then the following season, all I heard was mixed to negative shit about how boring the show was and how far downhill it was going. Now you have this season where, I mean, they've basically killed all the important characters from the comics, so they have no good directions to go that haven't already been laid out for them. And then you have this bullshit with Rick where they lead up to his death and they advertise it and get everybody hyped up for it, and then they don't kill him, which is, again, classic Walking Dead. You hype everybody up and then you blackmail them. Hey, but stick around. We got movies. Nope. Not watching them. So I hope they're good for all of you that like The Walking Dead still, but I think The Walking Dead is the most overrated trash show that's been out for a long time, and I honestly can't wait for it to end so that we can get something better, or somebody can reboot it and actually try to do it correctly. So that was a long, long answer for your question, but yeah, The Walking Dead gets me going when people start talking about it. Let me see. Let me scroll through now. All right, I'm kind of back. Let me see. Blaze Sawyer, can you do a Pumpkinhead review and rank the Evil Dead movies? Eventually, I will review the rest of the Evil Dead movies. That's another one of those kind of secondary franchises I was talking about earlier, because I have reviewed the remake. It was a patron request. Ran out of breath. But I will be doing the Evil Dead franchise before long, and then I will rank them. Pumpkinhead, absolutely. I love the first Pumpkinhead, so I will be reviewing that at some point. These are all things that I want to do. I wish I could review all these movies like now, but it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when it makes sense. There's a Pumpkinhead remake coming out at some point this year or next year, so I might wait to capitalize on that and put the review for the older one out alongside the new one. Who knows? There's some strategy there with some of these franchises. So eventually, yes. Let me see. Do 3 more questions. Got people talking about porn stars. I must have been boring. Let me see. Vinny Montaigne, Cody, if you could cast yourself in any movie ever made, what movies would it be and who would you like to play? Well, I don't want to take over a role in a movie that's already been made, but like if I had a chance to star myself in any or cast myself in any movie, I would like to be in a Nightmare on Elm Street film. I know that's probably a boring answer because everybody could probably guess that, but I think I would have the most fun doing something like that. Either being killed by Freddy or being the one to kick his ass in the end. I think that would be a blast. So if that would be like a bucket list like dream thing. Like just being in a movie period would be great, and I'd probably lose my shit over anything. But if it was like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, like, hey, you want to be in this new Nightmare on Elm Street? Fuck yes, I do. So that's probably my answer. Have you seen Bates Motel? What did you think of it? Well, I alluded to it earlier. Yes, I've seen all of Bates Motel. It's a damn good show. Very, very good. It's a new kind of modern twist on the Psycho storyline, but the acting is phenomenal in it. They go in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of really great characters in it, and especially the final season, the way that they actually tie kind of the events of the film Psycho into the movie or into the show a little bit, but twist it around. It was really, really good. So yes, if you have not watched Bates Motel, it should be a pretty cheap Blu-ray buy or even an Amazon Instant Video or whatever. They get the whole set. Treat yourself because it's good. I'll do 2 more questions. So 2 more. Holly Jones, what did you get me for my birthday? Some good shit. And no, that does not count. I've spoiled the fuck out of this woman this year. Let's just put it that way. What is your favorite video that you've made by Alex Fortnite? That is a good question. Um, it's not really one particular video, but so far, I think the most proud that I am of a video series is the ones that I just wrapped up, my Halloween review series, because I put so much into it, putting together and scripting and figuring out what I wanted to do for those intros and collaborating with Lee and getting, the editing together with his voice and me having to portray this prisoner and getting the costume and, you know, working up to what I knew was going to be the ending of Michael Myers finding me and killing me. Like stuff like that was pretty awesome. But reviewing the movies too was a blast because it's a very interesting franchise to talk about because there's a lot of ups and downs throughout it. Leading up with excitement to Halloween 2018. Unfortunately, my excitement wasn't met, as you all know, but there was a lot of fun and a lot of work and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into that review series. And I think aside from a couple of spots where I missed a spot of editing because I was exhausted and wasn't able to preview fully these videos because of my shitty old laptop where it wouldn't play. So there's a couple of spots, I think in 2 or 3 of the reviews where I screw up and I stop and then I start my question or my sentence over again that I should have edited out, but I missed it. Aside from those small little fuck ups, I think that I'm most proud of that series and how it turned out. So, one more question. Who's the lucky one? Let me see here. Yes, you do deserve it, dear. And I deserve it too. So come January 12th, I expect stacks of presents. Let me see. Okay, here's a good one to end on because I can speak a lot on this one. So this will be kind of a long answer. Dante's Films and Movie Reviews 69. 69. Do you think Rob Zombie is a bad director? No, I don't. I think Rob Zombie is a damn good director, but I think he's a shit writer. Absolutely fucking horrendous writer. And unfortunately, he does not allow one without the other. At least not yet. Every movie that he does, he has to have control of all of it. He has to control the script, probably has control over the casting since his wife is in every fucking movie, and he's the director. I think the guy has a damn good eye for the camera work that he does. He has a damn good style that's very signature. I think that he has a lot of horror knowledge and a lot of horror fandom that he shows in his films. I think that he has a vision that he does execute. I've seen every single one of his movies. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is the one that I like the most, which is the one that most people hate the most. But I recently rewatched House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, which are movies that I have not watched since they came out. And when they first came out, I fucking hated them just because they were so weird and off the wall. And Rob Zombie's style was just so abrasive to me that I couldn't stand them. Upon rewatch, while still having some problems, it's a review series I'd like to do at some point, a Rob Zombie review series. But House of a Thousand Corpses has a lot of style to it, has a lot of cool stuff in it, a lot of interesting ideas, and a lot of interesting execution on Rob Zombie's part, paired with the same weaknesses that they have in all of his movies, which is the script, the dialogue, some of the direction as far as the acting. You get to Devil's Rejects, same thing, but much less egregious. It's a very well-made movie, directing-wise. There's a lot less script issues and a lot less dialogue issues and acting issues, but they're still there. You get to, what the fuck did he do after that? I think he did Halloween after that. Halloween, the third act is good because it's kind of a just heightened new age version of the John Carpenter's Halloween. The first act is absolutely atrocious. I think the first act of Halloween is the worst thing that Rob Zombie's ever made because it's unwatchable. it's fucking disgusting. Like the dialogue in the first 30 to 35 minutes of Halloween is abysmal. Horribly written. It's disgusting to listen to. It turns me off. I mean, I have a sailor mouth, but at the same time, when it's just fucking shoved in your face constantly for the first act of a film to where you don't enjoy anything going on, none of the characters, nothing like that, that is not good. So the second act is just a big missed opportunity. But so then you get into the Lords of Salem, which I did a review for. Again, a lot of style. Probably the most style and the best directed movie that he's done as far as him using camera work and tone and atmosphere. Awesome stuff. But you put your wife in a position where she has the whole weight of the movie on her shoulders, and that movie's going to crumble because your wife is not a very good actor at all, or actress. So again, that is same typical Rob Zombie problems. You get to Halloween 2. You guys know my thoughts on that. Rob Zombie's 31, which was the first video that actually it spawned the rating "fuck this movie." I've yet to rewatch it, but I hated it. I saw it in theaters about a month before everybody else on like this little Fathom event, and I hated that movie. I thought it was garbage. Again, style, directing, camera work, great. Script, dialogue, characters, shit. And that until he lets those kind of creative control reins loose a little bit, you're never going to see, in my opinion, a truly great Rob Zombie film. And I think he has like a top 20 of all time horror film in him. I think it's a bold statement, but I do think that he has it in him. If he would let somebody else write his movie and he let somebody else cast his movie, but he was in charge of directing and maybe had a casting director or somebody like kind of helping him with, you know, getting some performances out of his actors or something like that, or at least kind of upgraded his actors a bit, not just horror movie alumni from people in the 70s, I think the dude could make a phenomenal horror movie that would be remembered forever. But will we ever get that? I don't know. Because I don't see Rob Zombie letting go of that creative control anytime soon. He had to use crowdfunding twice to make 31, which means that even if he has to get people to pay for it, he's going to make his own movie. 3 from Hell, we'll see how that goes. But I think if the dude would let go of the writing thing, then I think he'd have a great horror movie. But to answer your question, yes, I think he's a phenomenal director. It's the other shit tied in with making a movie that he fucks up on. So I went like 15 minutes past what I wanted to, guys. It is Creed 3 official an hour ago. Cool. I figured they would. But thank you for the update. But that's going to be it, guys. I have to get to bed. So I have to be up at 4:30 in the morning, and that's only 5 hours and 15 minutes away. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down. But thank you guys for your questions. Thank you for your super chats. You guys are always awesome to hang out with. Thank you for everybody that helped out and chimed in and maybe even messaged Adam whenever I put that video out on Adam tickets yesterday, because I'm pretty sure everybody messaging them and, you know, telling them how shitty their service was and how big of a mistake they made fucking with me is the reason why I got my money back. So thank you guys for always supporting the channel. Thank you for anybody that asked a question. I apologize if I didn't get to your question. There will be more Q&As in the future. But you guys are awesome. Keep being awesome. And make sure here. Yeah, so keep being awesome, everybody. I'm going to be heading to bed. So good night. Where is the X button? Here it is. All right. See ya.